So Dungeons and Dragons as a whole, the entire entity from 3.5 to 5e to 2024, I skipped 4th edition, but it's in there as well. What's happening as the skill, and just look at the books and you'll see this, is that now every class can do a little bit of everything. And so you don't have to have that differentiation. And so players that are coming in think they should be able to do everything because the mechanics say that they should. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just purely an observation. You look at it, fighters can now heal themselves. Paladins can pretty much always do everything. Wizards can now actually use melee weapons and exist in melee combat. All of these crossovers are because players want to play a specific way and with a specific class. Well, then there's no differentiation between the classes, which then leads to people wanting to be able to do things that their class cannot do because they've been conditioned to think that they can. It's not a problem, just purely an observation. And that's really where Dungeons and Dragons as a whole is gone, is to try to appease everybody. And everyone shouldn't be appeased, in my humble opinion, is that when you're choosing a class, you're choosing a character, in most games, you have restrictions on the things you can do. I do this over here very well, but I don't do this very well. Or I do this very well and I can't do this at all. And that's okay. And this comes about when you take a look at skills. Rogues and bards have lots of access to skills, so they're better at those things than most of the players that are on the table. And that's because that's what they're good at. But they lack the ability to sometimes put out significant damage over the course of sustained time. Every player and every character is going to be different. And the problem is every game is different. So if we're not communicating the type of game and the things that are going to be involved and who's going to have the spotlight, not every player can have the spotlight at every time. Not everyone can be the focus of all times. Not everyone can do everything. And that's really the only balancing act we have. And this doesn't just show up in Dungeons & Dragons. It's conditioned in the rules, in the mechanics of D&D, because so many people can do so many things. But in the end, it's really your call. As a dungeon master, decide what type of game you're going to play and let your players know. And then when the players try to step outside those bounds, just remind them. This is an open communication. There is no right way. There is no wrong way to play D&D. And the takes that you find online and the decisions you decide to make ultimately are yours to make as a dungeon master. And you can choose to go one direction or another depending on how much work you want to do. So just keep that in mind. When you're looking at advice online about this, keep in mind that there is an expectation that players will have before coming into your table. Find out what that expectation is. Everyone's a little different. Everyone wants something different from the game. The more we understand that, the easier it is. The core group of people that you're playing with, you'll get to know them. And that's why a lot of the problems come about, is because we have the same players trying to do the same thing, breaking the rules down. Food for thought.